Hey y'all, it's Tiffy. Welcome back to my journey. I'm back for my day 2 update on studying for my final exam. So today is Sunday and my final exam will be next Sunday. I'm probably going to schedule it for like 2 in the afternoon. And so I'm happy to report today's studying went a lot better than yesterday. I was a little more focused today and I kind of got into a rhythm. So I expect tomorrow to be even better. So today's topic, I studied chapter 12 and I took some notes. So today I was talking about the purchasing process, and that included a couple of different things as it relates to accounting information systems. So that included talking about the logical process of how an order comes through a system, and also the physical process or description of how um, inventory moves through a system. So it starts with, for example, your business has a need. So you would fill out a purchase requisition, which turns into a purchase order, which is kind of like a form of system a company will use to process whatever type of inventory you're ordering. It could be office supplies, it could be computers, it could be inventory if you have a business that has sales of physical items like a grocery store or a department store with clothes. And so how that gets processed in all the different stages between authorizing the transaction, executing the transaction, recording the transaction, and then after you've received your inventory, safeguarding all your organization's resources. So I feel a little more informed today. The focus of this chapter was to talk about control goals and control plans. So typically within an organization, there are primarily about 4 different control goals, overall goals, and that would be input, completeness, accuracy, validity, effectiveness of your workflow. And so within those goals, you have control plans that help you step by step achieve your ultimate goal of the input, completeness, accuracy, and validity. And so validity would mean that you have all legitimate claim, nothing is false. You don't have any false information or fraudulent information being inputted into your system. Completeness means that all the transactions you have that are actually received by your company. So you don't leave missed invoices or leave orders out. You have everything you're supposed to have. Everything that's coming from a customer or a client has been accurately recorded in your system. And then accuracy means even further, not that you have everything, but that it's actually correct. So the order that has been, if it's manually inputted into your system, is actually correct, meaning the types of items you're looking for, the number of the items you're looking for, the particular vendor they're coming from. And so with all of those 3 things, and that everything is effective, you're using your resources effectively, and you're not wasting people's time, you're not wasting money, you're not wasting your company's resources, of course. So those goals, like I said, there are a lot of different plans that you can implement within your system that management would implement to be able to ensure that you actually meet your goals. And so some of the plans, I'll give you just a couple because there's a lot, but I'll just name a couple because I don't want to hold you up all day. But for example, one of the plans would be to approve the purchase requisition. And so a brief summary of that is that management would approve all your purchase requisitions to ensure that they are authorized and that they're within budget. So what that means is me, Tiffany, who works for your company, who is not a manager, is not allowed to say, I want to order 12 highlighters because I'm a grad student, right? I'm a grad student. I want to order 12 packs of highlighters, 12 packs of Post-its, a couple of spirals that would appear to be used in the business, but then I'm actually going to use them for my next class. That's what you don't want to happen. So a control plan that you would implement is for management to approve all the purchase requisitions. This is just a second set of eyes on everything people within the company need to order, just to make sure that you're not ordering anything that's egregious and that everything is in budget. So another big deal, this is another way that someone who was trying to do something shady could commit fraud. Another control plan would be authorize vendors. So In most organizations, when you start a new job, you have to sign a code of conduct. And the code of conduct is a type of control plan that's in place that sort of sets the ethical tone of your organization, and it sort of helps cultivate an environment where you don't have employees trying to do things that they otherwise should not be trying to do. For example, Tiffany, if I am a buyer for your company, let's just say, for example, a buyer for Macy's. I like Macy's. So if I was a buyer for Macy's, you would implement a control to be an authorized vendor. So me as a buyer, I should have no authority whatsoever to set up a particular vendor. Let's say my bestie is a clothing designer, and because I'm the buyer for Macy's, I'm gonna hook her up and I'm gonna hire her and set up a contract with her to buy her clothes instead of buying clothes that have been properly approved and there's no conflict of interest for the company. And so having authorized vendors, quick summary of that would mean that all your vendors have been properly vetted by management to determine their suitability, and there's a official screening process. And so that would mean that me, Tiffany, as a buyer, I have no authority to no sole authority to select I'm going to buy from my bestie who's a clothing designer, or I'm going to buy from this person who's a clothing designer. So okay, so I'm back. As you heard before, my beautiful beagle needed some attention. So now that he's all settled, I'll get right back to it. So another control plan would be to compare vendors for price, terms, quality, and product availability. So an example, the easiest example I can give is one of my homework problems. We had a vendor, there was a company who had an emergency, and so whoever was trying to handle the emergency, she selected a vendor that was not in the pre-approved list of vendors that have been established by management. She selected another vendor who could get whatever she needed to rectify this emergency immediately, set up that vendor into the system, ordered what she needed, and then went on with her business after the emergency. So what happened was then people came in behind her and started using this same vendor for other things, where this particular vendor was not the most cost effective, not the best quality, and not a selective or vetted vendor. And so because this particular organization did not have the proper internal controls in place and the proper control plan in place, then the company was being now charged for things they could have gotten from a pre-selected vendor at a lower price in a non-emergency situation. They were being charged an egregious amount for these same products. So sort of like a control plan, like I said, for that would be to compare your vendors and to come up with, based on your requirements, and to come up with a pre-selected list of them that you can order from depending on what it is you need. And the person who is over vendor maintenance should not be the person who is actually putting in the POs. This should be a segregation of duties would be to make sure that this person is separate. And so you don't run into these issues, because if your company has an emergency and you've already done the proper contingency planning for business interruptions or emergencies, then you would already have a vendor on file that you could use, that you've already had plenty of time to vet for whatever products or services you needed to rectify your emergency. So I think I will leave it there, because this video is getting a little long-winded. But today went a lot better in terms of studying. And so I'll be back tomorrow with the next chapter. Tomorrow I'm going to do chapter 13, I think. And those are also control plans. But those are control plans not for the purchasing process, but for the accounts payable and cash disbursement process. So it's like another function within an organization. So thanks again for joining me. I look forward to sharing what I continue to learn over the next, I have 7 days now. Fingers crossed this goes well. I think now I have a rhythm, so I should be okay with studying each day. But thank you for watching. Thank you for joining my journey. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the notification bell for updates on the latest videos. I have some good stuff coming for you this week. And so I will talk to you all later. Toodles.